Time Warner Cable is pleased to be an underwriting sponsor for Carolina Week.
Coming up on the October 4th edition of Carolina Week.
I'm Joelle Kaplan. We'll show you how the economy has affected the most popular majors on campus.
And is the District 4 congressional seat a lock for the incumbent, or will political upstart pull a major upset?
In sports, we'll show you how the Tar Heels overpowered East Carolina, and women's volleyball remains undefeated in the ACC.
Weathercaster John Boyer will tell us if these cooler temperatures will last into the weekend.
All that and a local woman who's cooked her way out of poverty.
Carolina Week starts right now.
From the James F. Goodman Studio in the School of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, connecting campus and community, this is Carolina Week.
Even when the economy is good, college seniors start worrying at this time of year. Good evening, I'm Eddie Sykes.
And I'm Megan Cassell. Thank you for joining us. In just about 7 months, thousands of Carolina graduates will join others from across the country on the job market. Joelle Kaplan is live in the studio. Joelle, preparation for that first job actually starts long before you put on the cap and gown and start to send out resumes, doesn't it?
It does, Megan, and one of the key early decisions is when it comes time to pick a major. Do you follow your heart when deciding what to study, or does the size of the future paycheck take precedence?
For UNC senior Farrell Wiggins, history is, well, history.
I came to Carolina, wanted to be a history major, but freshman year I figured out there's really not much I can do with a history major.
Wiggins is now studying exercise and sports science to become a physical therapist, which she says is a wise career choice, even in today's job market.
There are always going to be an older population who needs to get rehabbed, or athletes who need rehab, so it's like it's always will be there. So like there are tons of jobs.
Which explains why hers is the 6th most popular major at UNC and also one of the fastest growing. According to spring 2010 data from the Registrar's Office, these are UNC's 10 most popular majors and the number of students enrolled in each. Looking back to spring 2000, the order of the list has changed, with psychology and exercise and sports science rising while communication and business fell. But look at the data from 2000 in blue and 2010 in red side by side, and you'll see that enrollment in most of the top 10 majors has grown, though in some more than others. Director of Career Services Ray Engel says the growth comes from increased enrollment and fluctuations in taste, not the economy. He advises students to pick their majors based on their passions rather than the job market.
Don't focus so much on the supply and demand that exists today, because 4 years from now, something could happen that could make that particular major or that supply and demand today very different, and the jobs wouldn't be there.
But Wiggins doesn't regret her major change at all.
I loved history. I loved history classes, but now like I enjoy my exercise and sports science classes like as much as I did a history class. Like I've become like I really care about the program and definitely am passionate about it now.
So Megan, for Wiggins, it's the best of both worlds. She's passionate about a field with ample jobs that pay well.
But Joelle, what about students who just aren't sure what they want to study?
Well, Megan, the General Alumni Association is actually hosting a Majors Expo Wednesday morning in the Student Union. Representatives will be on hand to give some guidance to those who are still undecided.
That's Joelle Kaplan starting us off live in the studio. Thanks, Joelle.
Dean of Students for Fraternity and Sorority Life, Jenny Levering, will be leaving UNC after 7 years at Carolina. Levering will leave UNC for a position at the Miami University in Ohio. She'll be director of the Office of Fraternity and Sorority Life and Leadership. She'll oversee twice the number of Greek students as she did here. Levering says the people who serve the fraternity and sorority community at Carolina will always have a special place in my heart.
Call it another casualty of the economy. Officials have canceled the flagship project for Carolina North. The Innovation Center was supposed to be a place that would bring global leaders in research, entrepreneurship, and academics to North Carolina. It was set to be the first project for UNC's satellite campus, Carolina North, a 250-acre site that will include the Horace Williams Airport off Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. But UNC's tight budget means the spot planned for the Innovation Center goes back to the drawing board.
Chancellor Thorpe and a team of alumni and friends are leading an ambitious plan here at UNC. The plan is called Innovate at Carolina. It will involve all academic departments, students, and faculty. And it will introduce a more activist approach to attacking the world's biggest problems.
That's what we want to do. We want to talk about water. We want to talk about poverty. We want to talk about how to educate our people.
The Chancellor will release a roadmap for this project describing the plan in more detail on University Day, October 12th.
The United States government takes responsibility for exposing and infecting Guatemalan citizens to venereal disease in order to test treatment. Be aware, the following content is graphic. On Friday, Secretary of State Hillary Clinton and Health and Human Services Secretary Kathleen Sebelius apologized for experiments in the 1940s. Medical personnel deliberately infected hundreds of Guatemalan men and women with syphilis without their consent. Syphilis is a sexually transmitted disease that often leads to insanity and death. Guatemalans were in an uproar.
The revelation that sent a shockwave through the media and the medical community.
Guatemalan President Alvaro Colom condemns the experiments as crimes against humanity. People on campus are also shocked, including resident Guatemalan professor Emilio de Ville Escalante.
A lot of people were using as guinea pigs in my country.
Colom wants to denounce the experiments in an international court. A commission will investigate the matter.
Midterm elections are less than a month away, and in Orange County, early voting begins in less than 2 weeks. The midterm elections typically see a lower voter turnout than during presidential election years, but local candidates want voters to know how important their vote really is this year. B.J. Lawson is running for Congress in North Carolina's 4th District. I spoke to him earlier in our satellite studio.
Mr. Lawson, thanks so much for joining us. What is it about this specific election season that makes it so important for voters to get out to the polls?
Well, I think most Americans agree that our country is going in the wrong direction. And if we want our voices to be heard, if we want to have an influence in the electoral process, the way you do it is get out there and vote. But more important than just voting, I think, is really starting to have a conversation about the issues and understanding that while we may come from different backgrounds politically, it's important to start talking about where we want our country to go and how we go about getting there and what sort of policies we should support as we work towards a future that we can leave to our children.
Speaking of our children, there are a lot of younger voters in this district, specifically a lot of college-age students. What are you doing to reach out to your younger voters?
Well, I think the real concern that I have is a concern that a lot of soon-to-be graduating college students are going to have, and that's jobs. Where's our economy going, and where are the jobs going to come from to allow us to get out and become productive members of a growing society? That's really where I think people should be focused this election, and one of the reasons why it's so critical to get out and vote. We are in the midst of an economic crisis that was brought on by too much debt. And the actions of our Congress and our executive branch, including our 22-year incumbent, Mr. Price, have only made that problem worse by more debt, more spending, when we're all being put in hock for what's been, frankly, a pretty flagrant disregard for the rule of law as in terms of how the financial system is supposed to behave.
You mentioned your opponent, Congressman David Price, and you've actually met him once before in 2008 while running for the same seat. What makes this year's election different than 2008?
Well, I think a lot of people are really starting to question the sort of change we were given in 2008. A lot of people that I know were looking for and are continuing to look for change. We're looking for more transparency in Washington, but yet we're getting an administration that has fired its transparency czar. And we talked about having health care reform debated in the open on C-SPAN. That never happened. We've been concerned for a long time in this area about our American foreign policy. So these are fundamental issues that people have been asking for change. David Price hasn't delivered that change.
That's congressional candidate B.J. Lawson. Mr. Lawson, thanks so much for joining us this afternoon.
My pleasure. Great to be with you.
Lawson's opponent, 3-term Congressman David Price, is slated to join us later this month.
Finally, there's some fall in the air.
And around here, that means there's a lot of fall on the street. We'll show you how locals celebrate the change of season.
Hey.
Ready to go?
Yeah, but the fire's not out.
Close enough.
Huh. Close enough? If it's too hot to touch, it's too hot to leave. I mean, the next thing you know, you've torched our whole neighborhood.
Which is why we're not going anywhere?
Exactly. 9 out of 10 wildfires are caused by humans.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
2 out of 3 people with diabetes die of heart attack or stroke. That was his wake-up call.
Lots of people in our area want to protect.
This is yours. Ask your healthcare provider how you can lower the risk. To learn more, go to diabetesactnow.org.
Oh, those boys are much too much. Those boys are much too much. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We're going to beat them and bust them. Beat them.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life.
Let's get a little bit rowdy. R-O-W-D-Y.
Take time to be a dad
One more
today.
time. All those boys are much too much. Those boys.
Lots of people in our area want to help protect the environment. And Saturday, Chapel Hill residents gathered in Umstead Park for this year's North Carolina Big Sweep. The Big Sweep is a statewide effort to clean up litter. At the event, volunteers picked up garbage that could be harmful, like around watersheds. Beverage cans, fast food wrappers, and cigarette butts were the most common litter. Unlike last year, the weather was great. Adults and kids enjoyed the morning in the woods while trying to fight pollution.
Chapel Hill's annual Festifall Arts Festival brings lots of people to downtown for the fun and festivities. West Franklin Street buzzed with excitement as thousands of residents filled the street for the 38th year of the event. Local artists displayed and sold their works, and arts and crafts stations attracted the kids. Local performance groups put on exciting shows throughout the day, including a local jump rope team that was a hit with the crowd. More than 70 vendors participated in this year's festival.
Don't be surprised if you see the town turning pink as the UNC Comprehensive Cancer Center raises money to fight breast cancer. The series of month-long events kicked off on Friday afternoon at the Carolina Inn's front porch. The pink-themed event was popular with everyone, including the kids. With people enjoying the bluegrass band and some pink drinks in the October sunshine, the group will be hosting other events throughout the month.
Even though one campus group is only 30 years old, it's known for keeping UNC traditions alive. The Order of the Bell Tower welcomed new and old faces this past weekend as the organization celebrated 3 decades of tradition keeping on campus. Members of the order strive to maintain long-established rituals at UNC, like climbing the bell tower and writing on one of its bricks, or drinking from the old well on the first day of classes. You can read about more traditions in the True Blue Book, a guide that tells you all the things you should know before you graduate from Carolina. Well, weathercaster John Boyer joins us in the studio. John, it's a little nippy outside.
Yeah, is it time to carve pumpkins or pick apples yet?
You might still have some time this evening. It's certainly my favorite part of fall weather. And as we take a look at the 5-day forecast coming up after the break, I think we'll find plenty of opportunities to get outside and enjoy some fall weather. Stay with us.
Today is a special day. Today we gather as a nation and as an international community to recognize the selfless decision of one of the most influential women of our time. She's been recognized by religious figures and politicians around the world. To us, she's just Rachel. But to the rest of the world, she's the woman who, after having one too many drinks, chose not to drive home buzzed. Here today to honor Rachel is the family whose lives she spared.
There's a place not so far away, a place where you don't have to keep the volume down. You'll find all sorts of creatures in this place without have to. The silly you, the proud you. You may even meet the curious you.
It's tickling me! You!
Ask your parents to take you to this not so far away place. Come to the forest, where the other you lives. But first, stop by discovertheforest.org.
Welcome back to Carolina Week. I'm John Boyer. Thanks for staying with us. I was in for a bit of a surprise when I went out the door this weekend and found that the air was much cooler. It really did feel like fall. And going out the door tomorrow morning, it's going to be even cooler than anything we've experienced so far this fall. Temperatures down in the lower 40s. We'll take a look at tonight's forecast in a minute. But past that, we'll see a little bit of warmth slowly return during the daytime. So by the weekend, we'll be back in the upper 70s. But lots and lots of sunshine. Doesn't look like a very good chance for rain out there. And there are some clouds in the sky, but they are not the rain-producing types of clouds. There's a low offshore causing a lot of cloudiness in the northeast and a stationary front trailing behind it offshore. But these clouds stuck against the mountains, they will remain in our forecast for the next 2 days. The surface map just kind of confirms that there's that low. The rain is confined to the northeast. High pressure behind it really wants to start taking control of our weather, but it might take a few more days before sunshine is all that we see in the skies. So our forecast for tonight, we expect a few clouds, partly cloudy skies. The winds will be very calm. Those two things combined will mean that our temperatures could get very cold. I'm going with a 46-degree temperature tonight, but if we see fewer clouds, if we see a completely clear sky, we could see our temperatures down in the lower 40s, especially in some of the outlying places like Caswell or Person County. Now going into the day tomorrow, we'll keep partly cloudy skies in the forecast. Our temperature, much like today, right around 68 degrees with some chilly northwesterly winds. So maybe a little cool enough to get the jacket out or the sweater, the cardigan, the scarf when you leave for classes in the morning. Here's tomorrow's surface map. Not a lot of change from where we're at today. Still some rain in the northeast, and this is trying to put some rain into western North Carolina. I don't have a lot of confidence that we'll see any kind of measurable rain, although if you are heading west tomorrow into Greensboro or Asheville, you might want to take the umbrellas. You may encounter a sprinkle. But behind it, this high pressure, that's what we have in store for the weekend. Also going on tomorrow, men's soccer taking on the Radford Highlanders at 7 o'clock. Expect temperatures in the mid-50s for when the game begins. And by the time everything is wrapping up, we could see temperatures in the low 50s under partly cloudy skies. So want to bundle up if you're out there cheering on the Tar Heels. Over the next 5 days, lots of sunshine in the forecast. We start out with partly cloudy skies for Tuesday with a high of 68. Our coolest low in the 5 days is going to be on Wednesday morning when we're expecting 42 degrees. Warming up to 73 for Wednesday with sunshine and sunshine all the way through the weekend. Temperatures in the upper 70s for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So that's actually right where we should be for this time of year. And our morning lows also kind of warming up a little bit into the upper 40s, but I know we have that game on Saturday against Clemson. Everybody's looking forward to having some nice football weather. We're going to get it once again.
Yeah, you might actually have to turn on the heater in the car these days.
I did this morning.
Well, it sounds like a gorgeous next couple of days. We appreciate it, John. Thanks a lot.
All right, enjoy it.
Well, Keenum Stadium isn't the only place on campus where you can chase gridiron glory. The Wilson Library gave special glimpses into UNC's football history with an exhibition during the pregame festivities on Saturday. Archival film clips featured highlights from past games, including football legends Charlie Choo Choo Justice and famous Amos Lawrence. University archivist Jay Glademore says the film is in very fragile condition. The exhibition also features memorabilia, including news clippings, programs, and photographs.
Sportscaster Justin Page joins us now in the studio. Justin, I have to admit that win this weekend was great because my little brother goes to ECU.
Yeah, we really got those Pirates, didn't we?
No, Eddie, we certainly did. It almost looked like the ghosts of Charlie Choo Choo Justice were out there on the field with them this weekend. Just a dominating win for the Tar Heels, now 2-2 on the season. And coming up after the break, we'll tell you why the football team finally has something to dance about.
Hoy, el envenenamiento por pintura con plomo afecta a más de 1 millón de niños. El polvo de la pintura con plomo puede causar comportamiento violento. Si su casa se construyó antes de 1978, llame o conéctese.
Los albergues son los mejores lugares para encontrar a una nueva mascota. Descubrirás saludables y amorosos animales esperando a convertirse en parte de tu familia. Cree en el espíritu de la temporada. Adopta a tu nuevo amigo de un albergue hoy. Averigua más en theshelterpetproject.org.
Bienvenidos, encantado. Entiendo que necesitan ayuda con la hipoteca. Quieren evitar un embargo. Nosotros somos expertos en esa cosita de la hipoteca.
¿De veras?
Y por supuesto. ¿Por qué no hacemos un contrato?
Toma, Pedro.
Gracias.
Si enfrenta una ejecución hipotecaria, hable con las personas indicadas. Llame sin costo alguno a los asesores de vivienda aprobados por HUD al teléfono 888-995-4673.
Welcome to Carolina Week Sports. I'm Justin Page. It seems that each week there are new developments into the NCAA investigations into the football team. And now we have perhaps the most devastating details yet. On Thursday, Yahoo Sports reported the extent of former assistant coach John Blake's relationship with sports agent Gary Wichard. Receipts reveal that Blake had accepted money from Wichard since May 2007, including nearly $45,000 in loans and even a credit card issued from Wichard's law firm. Blake resigned last month after saying he'd become a distraction to the program, and now the question remains, did Blake funnel money to players? The investigation is ongoing, and some say it could ultimately cost Coach Butch Davis his job. Meanwhile, on the field, Carolina's season is finally running back on track after its best game of the season. After 2 losses and 1 ugly win, the Tar Heels needed to make a statement Saturday. And down 14-7 just before halftime, the Heels finally began to put together a complete game when senior Denoris Searcy scored on a game-changing interception. Searcy had missed the Heels' first 3 games because of the NCAA investigations and said his return was an emotional experience.
I said I'm just so happy to be back out there with the guys. Like, watching it on TV was very hard. Like, I kind of cried a couple of times, just happy, just tears of joy.
Coach Butch Davis said Searcy's return energized a defense that held ECU's explosive offense to only 3 second-half points.
And it was good to get Denoris back. He's confident, he's poised, he's been in games, he's returned kicks, and we hope that that role will continue to grow. But it was a very much a welcomed addition to our team.
While the defense dominated, the offense ran the Pirates off the field. Running backs Johnny White and Sean Drone combined for 277 rushing yards, each gaining more than 100. Drone scored a career-high 3 touchdowns and said the running game exhausted the Pirates' defense.
I mean, over the summer, we talked about just winning in the fourth quarter, winning, you know what I'm saying, running people off the field. I mean, we stuck in there throughout the whole game. I think they got wore down.
The running game also provided opportunities for quarterback T.J. Yates, and he capitalized, completing 70% of his passes and throwing 2 touchdowns. But even after playing a near-perfect game, the Heels know they can't let their guard down. Only minutes after Saturday's win, Drone said the team is already focused on next week.
You know what I'm saying? It's just one game at a time. This game is over with. We just got to get on to the next one.
Next week, the Heels will try to get their first conference win when they take on Clemson. Carolina will kick off against the Tigers at 3:30 on Saturday at Kenan Stadium. The women's volleyball team is on a hot streak and feeling good after Thursday night's game against number 14 Florida State. We pick up on the action at Carmichael. Watch this. Courtney Johnston delivers the spike right there. Johnston had a career-high 22 kills. On defense, here's Kaylee Gibson with the dig. She posted 32 of them to help the Heels force a 5th and final set. And don't forget Christine Vaughn. There she is right there, attacking with the kill. Vaughn helped the Heels take the 5th set and the match. On Friday, packed house at Carmichael's. Ladies continued against Miami. Fans were fired up, and the Heels didn't disappoint. Emily McGee, Courtney Johnston, and of course, here she is again, Christine Vaughn combined for 27 kills on the night. Vaughn smashed 5 of her kills and only 7 swings in the first set. UNC swept the Canes 3-0 and improved to 5-0 in the ACC. The UNC field hockey team continues to dominate on the field after a convincing win against ACC opponent Wake Forest this weekend. The Heels got off to a quick start on Saturday against Wake Forest. Early on, watch this. Elizabeth Stevens gets this goal only 2 minutes into the game. And later on, you got to check this out. Katie Ardrey gets into the box, battles with Wake Forest's goalie to get yet another goal for the Heels. The Deacs tried to hang on during the game and finally got a goal in the second half, but by then it was too late. The Heels proved to be too much for them, and they won 5-1. Earlier today, though, the Heels also took the turf against California. The first half was scoreless, but in the second half, the Heels took the lead on a Kelsey Kolajic goal in the second half. UNC won 1-0. That's their 7th shutout this season, and they improve to 12-0. After placing 15th and 20th in the NCAAs last year, members of the men's and women's swimming and diving teams are showing they're ready for another strong season. The team splashed into action on Saturday at the annual blue and white scrimmage, I should say. And here comes Carolina's top returning performer, Joe Kinderwater. You see him right there winning the 1,000-meter freestyle. And on the women's side, sophomore Carly Smith won 2 races at the meet. And there she is in the white cap in lane 5, winning the 200-meter backstroke. UNC looks good going into the 2010 season. And you can catch the Heels' first meet against East Carolina this Friday at 4 p.m. UNC's #2 men's soccer team is undefeated in conference play after a whirlwind weekend in Charlottesville. Carolina returns to Fetzer Field. Actually, there's the score of the game on Saturday. They played the Virginia Cavaliers. Kirk Urso scored a goal in the 59th minute, and Carolina got the win. That was actually their first win in Charlottesville since 1977. Just an incredible accomplishment right there. And then, of course, once going on tomorrow night, as John mentioned, fantastic weather for the game. They take on the Radford Highlanders at 7 o'clock at Fetzer Field, so you should definitely get out there for it.
Well, Justin, that sounds like a really good role for the men's soccer team. I'm really glad that they're doing so well.
No, absolutely, Eddie. They're on a roll, 9-2 in the season and undefeated in conference play. There you see it right there. We certainly wish the best of luck to the Tar Heels.
Absolutely. Well, thanks a lot, Justin.
We'll definitely keep our fingers crossed for them.
Most definitely.
Chapel Hill residents are known for their diverse taste in food.
Coming up, we'll show you how one local woman is giving back to the community through her cooking.
If you have a story idea, call Carolina Week at 919-843-8292 or email us at carolinaweek@unc.edu. If you have questions about this program, write Carolina Week at Campus Box 3365, UNC-CH, Chapel Hill, North Carolina 27599. Be sure to check out Carolina Week and Carolina Connection online at carolinaweek.org.
Tough get cooking?
Claudia Rupsich has the story of one local woman who has the recipe for overcoming adversity.
Meet Bimala Rajendran, the owner and executive chef of Franklin Street's newest Indian restaurant. With a friendly smile and open arms, she welcomes all from the community to Bimala's Curry Blossom Cafe.
The community accepted me with love and treated me like family.
Bimala moved to Chapel Hill 25 years ago, and after a divorce, she found herself struggling as a single mother to support her kids.
Friends in my neighborhood suggested that I start to cook food, and they would come and pick it up, and it was called Bimala's Takeout.
Bimala's Takeout soon turned into donation-based community dinners at her home. She quickly became known for her delicious food.
People often said that I should start a restaurant, and I was adamant that I never would because I had heard how difficult it would be. And sure enough, it is hard.
But the work is worth it for Bimala. The restaurant has been open since June, and business has been booming. And what's the best part for Bimala?
Making people happy with good food.
Bimala shows her love for cooking and commitment to the community with every dish she makes, like these samosas, for example. And she hopes it's through this food that she can give back to those who have supported her the whole way.
Boy, am I grateful. I'm very grateful and just humbled. And I feel like, the love I feel that comes at me from the community is a gift from heaven. And I have so much to give as a result of that.
Plenty of hungry residents seem happy about how she expresses that gratitude. In Chapel Hill, I'm Claudia Rupsich, Carolina Week.
Well, that certainly sounds delicious. I know that the other week we actually featured a French cook who is making her own special crepes in Chapel Hill. I got to get out there and try some of this food.
Yeah, this weekend would be a great time to go out and try some new restaurants.
Absolutely, and the weather is going to be cooperating with you. We're expecting sunshine, well, partly cloudy skies tomorrow, and then pure sunshine all the way through Saturday. Our temperatures feeling mostly fall-like, what we would expect for this time of year, starting out at 68 on Tuesday, working our way up into the upper 70s for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And as Justin mentioned, we'll have Clemson this weekend. Weather's looking fantastic.
Hopefully so. Perfect weather this weekend against East Carolina. Nice. It's going to be a great atmosphere in Kenan Stadium. Good to hear.
Always is.
All right, well, looking forward to a great weekend. Sunny skies, great weather. Thanks so much for doing us a favor and watching our show this afternoon. That does it for this edition of Carolina Week.
Thanks for watching. Have a good night.